So, children, today we are going to study the chapter of class 9th, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. Before I begin this, I would like to just tell you certain things about the new introduction of the book Kaveri in class 9th. Earlier, there were two books, Beehive and Moments. So, in order to reduce the burden on your shoulder, CBSE has introduced new book Kaveri, which has now new supplementary reader Kaveri has been introduced. It's a core book, sorry, Kaveri, core book. For class 9th. It has 16 contents. How many? 16 contents comprising 8 poems and 8 prose. 8 poems and 8 prose. So, a new book has been introduced that is called Kaveri in class 9th. That is a core reader. Okay. So, the first chapter of the book is How I Taught My Grandmother. This chapter was earlier in the literature communicative book, long back, about 10 to 15 years back. Now, again, that chapter has been taken and introduced in this new book, Kaveri. This chapter, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read, has been written by Sudha Murthy. About the author. So this chapter has been written by Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy. The chapter How I Taught My Grandmother has been written by Sudha Murthy. So let us have the brief introduction of the author. Sudha Murthy. She was born in 1950. She was born in 1950 in Karnataka. First point about the author. She is the wife of Narayan Murthy, who is the co-founder of Infosys, which is a leading software company. She is a prolific, sorry, she is one of the prolific Indian authors a social worker and a great philanthropist. Philanthropist. Philanthropist means a person who does charity. A person who does charity. So, Sudha Murthy was born in 1915 Karnataka. She is the wife of Narayan Murthy, the co-founder of Infosys company, that is a leading software company, and she is one of the prolific Indian authors. One of the prolific Indian authors means she has written much of stories, novels, and poems in abundance, in large amount, in India, in simple Indian language, which could be easily comprehended by the students. And besides that, she is a great social worker and philanthropist, means who does a lot of charity and involved in lot of social work. After completing her engineering degree, she became one of the first women engineers in India, and also worked as a lecturer in engineering colleges. So this is a brief introduction about the author Sudha Murthy, who has written the chapter, the story, How I Taught My Grandmother. Okay. Now, before I begin the chapter, just think about this. Just have a brainstorming. Why it is necessary to read and write, to learn to read and write. Complete the given word. Well, okay. Why is it important to learn how to read and write? Four, at least 4 points. Why is it important? I'm asking you all. Come on. So let me explain you why is it important to learn how to read and write. First point, according to me, it provides you independence. Education provides you independence. Very important thing. Independence. Then it provides you a proper position in society. It provides you a proper position in society. Suppose if you are educated, then people respect you. You gain something in society and you have a proper position. People deal with you in a proper manner. For instance, if a person is having a big industry or is an industrialist but not properly educated, no matter he or she is a billionaire or millionaire, people just show false respect in front of him. But as soon as he or she turns back, they make fun of that person. And above all, he or she won't be able to understand the proper ethics and the in depth of that particular business or whatever is going on without being properly educated, without being educated enough to read and write. So, basic points. First of all, it is important because it provides you independence, independent of thoughts, ideas, expression, many things. Then it provides a proper position in the society. Then it raises your confidence. Now, it raises your confidence. When you are educated enough, then you are confident to deal with any person. You must have seen in olden days, there used to be one or two educated person who used to be metric pass, mean 10th pass and all, who could only read and write. And a lot of village women and men used to hover around them, surround them regarding the letter or telegram to be read by them. Means whatever letter or telegram is to come to the villagers, they have to run. They knew that there's only one or two person in the village who are capable to read and write. So they used to run to their houses to get their letter or telegram read. Or suppose, for example, in your family also, in your family only, or relative relation only, like if you are studying in an English medium school, you know to learn and read English properly. Your course is in English, entire course in English, school is English medium school. So something complicated comes around in English, then no matter it's your grandfather, your father, your mother, your neighbor, your relatives, they run to you to provide solution of that portion or that part written in English. So similarly, education raises your confidence. So it make you feel confident that you can do it. You can face the society. You can deal with all sort of solutions. Problems to find the solution. Then fourth point, yes, yes, come on. It provides you independence. It provides you a proper position in society education. It raises your confidence. Yes, so it provides you independence, it provides you proper position, it raises your confidence, and it helps in facing the challenges of life. So, four important points of being educated. When you are educated enough to read and write, or you are educated, or you know to learn and read, you know to read and write, then there are four basic advantages. It provides you independence, it provides you a proper position in society, it raises your confidence, and most importantly, it helps in facing the challenges of life. Okay, I hope this much is clear to you. Now we'll move on to the chapter. Now, this is the entire chapter in the form of text flashing on your board. How I taught my mother to read and write. So, before I begin, let me summarize you so that you may have a better understanding of the chapter. So, it is a story of Sudhamurti herself when she was a 12-year-old child. This is the story of the narrator only. Means the story has been narrated in the first person. Means the author herself has narrated this story. This is a real life story connected to her life when she was 12 years of age and used to live with her grandmother in Karnataka. Her grandmother, whom she used to call Avva, who was 62-year-old lady, a strong-willed and determined lady with good-looking face. So her grandmother was illiterate, not educated, but she was very fond of listening uh, to the story of an old lady which used to be published in uh, a weekly magazine or newspaper, Karmvira, which is so a story used to use a story of a old lady used to be published in the weekly newspaper Karamvira in parts, and she was very excited to know about each and every part of the story. And this author Sudha Murthy, who was 12-year-old girl, she used to read it to her grandmother because in the story, the story was Kashi Yatra, where that old lady wanted to go to Kashi, visit Kashi, uh, to get the ultimate karma, means to perform the ultimate karma, to do some punya, what we call. And for that, she has accumulated some money. But at the same time, there was a girl who was short of money to get married, and this lady donated her money. This lady ने अपना सारा पैसा उसको दे दिया to get her married, and thought that that was the more important punya, ultimate punya, karma. Then visiting Kashi to have a darshan of Lord Vishweshwara, means Lord Shiva, one of the forms of Lord Shiva. And that story was used to be published in parts in the newspaper, sorry, in the weekly magazine or weekly newspaper Karamvira. And grandmother was very fond of that story, and she connected herself with that story. So the narrator used to read every week a new episode or new part of that story used to be published in the newspaper, and Karamvira, and she used to read it to her grandmother. And that uh, story was written by Triveni, one of the most important and prolific authors in Kannada at that time. So once what happens, and after the story was read to the grandmother, she used to discuss it with her friends in the courtyard of a temple when she used to visit there. So once the narrator is the author Sudha Murthy, she went to attend the village she went to the village to attend the marriage ceremony, and she went actually for 2 days, but she got stuck there for a week. And in the meantime, the latest episode of Karmvira appeared, but the grandmother was helpless to read it, and she felt very desperate. She could not find anybody to read. Means she was, you can say, she was addicted to that story, and she couldn't find anybody to read it for her. कोई उनको नहीं मिला पढ़ने के लिए story. And she was very much desperate. So when, and she also wanted to reach the author in the village, but due to her shyness, she didn't go there. And finally, when the author returned, so grandmother was very quiet and sad. She was in a pensive mood. So she realized that something wrong has happened, because her grandmother had never been sad in even toughest conditions. She was a strong-willed lady, as I explained to you earlier also. So in old days, people used to sleep on the open terrace. So when the narrator Sudhamurti was sleeping on the terrace, grandmother went at night to her and patted her. The author wakes up, and she realized something wrong had happened. She saw tears in the eyes of her grandmother, and then grandmother narrates her life story to her 12-year granddaughter. Her feelings, shares that when she was young, she was married at a very young age by her father, because her mother died and her father got second marriage done, and then later on she also got married at an early age. That's why she couldn't go to school to study. And at that time, most importantly, she tells her granddaughter that in her time when she was in a young age, it was not considered proper by the parents to educate the girls, to send them to schools and colleges. So that's why she couldn't complete her. Means she even didn't go to school, but she took a pledge that she won't let it happen with her children and grandchildren. Means she will definitely let her children and grandchildren educated. And then she expresses her desire to become independent, to learn to read and write. But a 12-year girl, what you can imagine, how much understanding she must be having. So first she mocks, no matter she was very much emotionally connected to her grandmother, but the narrator first mocks at her that at this age it is not possible. But the grandmother was very much determined, and she keeps a deadline that on the Saraswati Puja day during the Shahra time, that is within few months time from that day, she would definitely learn to read the Kannada alphabets. And because Kannada is a language of Karnataka, and Kannada language she would definitely learn. You can say like that. And she asks her granddaughter to teach her, to be her tutor. So she is Miss narrator's grandmother is the first tutor of her grandmother, first teacher of her grandmother. And her grandmother was her first student. And with her determination and devotion, it is seen that by the day of Saraswati Puja, grandmother learns to read and write. And that day, the author gives her the full novel Karnvira. By that time, that Karnvira uh, was published in the form of a novel. She gives that book to her grandmother and touches her feet. Grandmother also touches the feet of her 12-year granddaughter as a mark of respect for being her teacher. She touches the feet of, because in our Hindu culture, it is believed that teacher is next to God. So as a mark of respect, she touches the feet of grandmother, and she is very much happy and excited that her grandmother has passed with flying colors. Means has been finally successful. So this is the story. So now let's begin. One second. One second. One second. हेलो। हाँ, सिस्टम हैंग हो रहा है, थोड़ा आगे देख लीजिए, बंद हो गया है। ठीक है, आ जाइए। सॉरी। देखिए कैसे हुआ। So this is the story of Sudha Murthy, who taught her grandmother to read and write. So now we are going to study the story in detail. The story has been written in the first person, as I told you, by the narrator. The story begins as she says, when I was a girl of about 12, 12 means 12 years, I used to stay in a village in North Karnataka. Karnataka is one of the Indian states in South, with my grandparents. Those days, the transport system was not very good. So in those days, the transport system, it was not very good. So we used to get the morning paper only in the afternoon. So there was improper transport system. It was not well developed in those days as of now. So the morning newspaper used to reach there in the afternoon, and the weekly magazine. So it's talking about that magazine only, Karmveera. So weekly magazine, let me tell you, which I discussed. Weekly magazine is Karmveera, in which the story Kashi Yatre used to be published in parts, in episodes, in serials, of which the narrator's grandmother was very fond of. The weekly magazine used to come one day late. All of us would wait eagerly for the bus. I mean, they used to wait for the bus very eagerly for the newspaper as well as for the weekly magazine to come, which used to come with the papers, weekly magazines, and the post. Post means letters. Post means letters. At that time, Triveni was a very popular writer in Kannada. I told you earlier also, Triveni. Triveni was a very popular or famous writer in Kannada language. Kannada is the local language of Karnataka. Local language of Karnataka. She was a wonderful writer. Wonderful means now I am making mark down the words and their meanings also so that the text may be easily to comprehend for you, जिससे कि आपको समझने में दिक्कत ना हो, कंटेंट आपके लिए इजी हो जाए. So she was a wonderful. Wonderful means amazing. Where to write? Wonderful means amazing. 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 She was a wonderful writer. Her style was easy to read and very convincing. So her writing style was very easy for the people to comprehend. Means she used to use a very easy language so that everybody can understand. Everybody could understand, and also it was very convincing. Convincing means believing. Believing. Believing means her writing style was such that people used to believe it. They used to connect themselves with the story she used to write as 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 the real life story of their own. Means the stories written by Triveni was such that the people used to think that it was the real story of their own life. उनके खुद की जिंदगी की असली स्टोरी हो, वो अपने आप उससे कनेक्ट कर लेते. They used to connect themselves with the story written by Triveni. Her stories usually dealt with complex psychological problems in the lives of ordinary people. Ordinary people means common people. So, one second. Let me find a. Let me make you write down the meaning of this. One second. हमें एक जगह चाहिए मीनिंग लिखने के लिए थोड़ा सा. So complex psychological problem means complex huh? Yes. Okay. Complex psychological problems. So what does complex psychological problem is? I'll tell you the meaning of this word in the these words in the next page. First understand. So her stories usually deal with the complex psychological problems. So complex psychological problems basically mean the hidden mental struggles of common people in their day-to-day life, in their daily life. Feeling of anxiety, emotional disturbance, work pressure, all these things. Financial issues, relation issues, all types of common problems of a common man. It's called complex psychological problems. And these means basically day-to-day issues of a common man, of a common person, or common people, and her story used to be based on these things only. The problems of a common man, in simple person, in simple language. उनकी स्टोरी जो होती थी वो रोजमर्रा की लोगों की कॉमन मतलब आम इंसान के जरूरतों और परेशानियों से जुड़ी होती थी उनकी कहानियां. दैट्स व्हाई द कॉमन पीपल यूज्ड टू कनेक्ट देमसेल्व्स with her stories and they were fond of, and always very, that's why her stories are always very interesting, because her stories usually dealt with complex psychological problems in the lives of ordinary people and were always very interesting. One second, you can note down the meaning: complex psychological problem means daily issues or or struggle in the life of a in the life of common people, sorry, in the life of common people. So day to day struggle in the life of a common people, life of common people. This is called complex psychological problem. Why complex? Because such problems are very complex. Now, okay. Now further, the text says, the narrator speaks that unfortunately for Kannada literature, she, who is she here? She is Triveni only. She is referred to Triveni. ये आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है. It could be asked a question that who is she referred to? Triveni. So it says that unfortunately, बदकिस्मती से, unluckily. Unfortunately means unluckily. For Kannada, because she used to write in Kannada language only, so she died very young, at a very young age of 40 years. Triveni. That was a huge blow for the Kannada literature. People continue to appreciate her novels. Means even that time also, even after her death, people used to appreciate and love her novels, or which was written by Triveni. You can see in the picture also how a 12-year narrator is teaching her grandmother of 62 years of age. Sudha Murthy, I am labeling it also Sudha Murthy, 12 years, and grandmother, 62 years. one of her novels called Kashi Yatre. So one of the novels written by Triveni, the famous author of Kannada literature at that time. So one of the important, most famous novel written by her was Kashi Yatre, was appearing as a serial. Serial means in parts, in PARTS, parts or episodes. So in those days TV was not there. So you must be thinking that how such talking about episodes. Episode doesn't mean only TV serial. A part, it could be published in newspaper also or any magazine also. So in those days we have studied that new Karvira weekly magazine was there. So in that, this story of Kashi Yatre used to be published in serials, means in parts, episode wise, every week. It was basically done to increase the selling of the weekly magazine so that people may get the stories of a common man to connect themselves with that story, and the sale of the newspaper may increase. As a serial in the Kannada weekly Karmveera. Then, sorry. So Karmveera was a weekly magazine, a weekly newspaper. Sorry. One second. Weekly. Okay. Weekly magazine Karmveera in Kannada language. In Kannada language. Okay. It is a story of an old lady and her ardent desire. Ardent desire means very strong desire. Very strong desire. And her ardent desire to go to Kashi or Varanasi. Now, the old name of Varanasi was Kasi. Now it is called Varanasi, one of the oldest cities of the world. Most Hindus believe that going to Kashi and worshipping Lord Vishweshwara. So Lord Vishweshwara is one of the forms of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has many forms, and one of the forms which is there situated in Varanasi, that is the form called Lord Vishweshwara. So it was believed that worshipping Lord Vishweshwara as Kashi is the ultimate punya. Ultimate punya. means highest spiritual merit, or simply going to good karma, ultimate punya, ultimate punya, highest spiritual merit, or good karma, good karma, जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं सत्कर्म, हमारे अच्छे कर्म. This old lady also believed in this. Which old lady? The lady in the story, Kashi Yatra. So this lady believed in going to Varanasi to have a darshan of Lord Vishweshwara to get the ultimate punya done. And her struggle to go there was described in that novel. And how she struggled for going there, that has been described in the novel Kashi Yatra, which used to publish where, which used to be published in Kanvira, the weekly magazine or newspaper of that time. In the story, sorry, in the story, there was also a young orphan girl. Orphan, orphan means, ये तो आप लोगों को पता होगा, बहुत सिंपल सी मीनिंग है. Orphan means without parents, without parents, जिसके माता पिता नहीं होते. So there were two characters in Kashi Yatra. One was the old lady who wanted to go to Varanasi to get the darshan of Lord Vishweshwara done in order to achieve ultimate punya. And then there was also an orphan girl who falls in love, but there was no money for the wedding. So she falls in love with somebody, wanted to marry, but there was no money with her to get married. In the end, the old lady gives away all her savings without going to Kashi. So finally, this old lady, when she comes to know about that girl, so she feels pity on her. Out of pity, or she realizes that going Kashi Yatra, uh, doing Kashi, with going to Lord Vishnu temple in Varanasi to get ultimate punya done, uh, in place of that, to help the orphan girl in getting her married is more important, or is equivalent to go to Varanasi to have the darshan of Lord Vishweshwara to get the ultimate punya. She thought that helping that girl to get married was equally important. It was also a form of high merit deed, बहुत ज़्यादा पुण्य का काम. And then she finally decided that instead of going to Kashi Yatra, what would she do? She gave away all her savings to that girl and abandoned the plan of going to Kashi. काशी जाने का प्लान छोड़ देती है वो, and she gives all her money to that girl to get married. She says the happiness of this orphan girl is more important than worshipping Lord Vishweshwara at Kashi. This is one of the most important lines in the story, which touches the heart. Means helping the orphan girl was more important than visiting Kashi to get the darshan of Lord Vishweshwara. How many people are here today who think like this? Just imagine that, consider yourself at that position that you have planned somewhere to go, especially some very important place where you have been planning for so long, for which you had been planning for so long, and you had an ardent desire to visit that place. And finally, it comes that you some needy or poor person appears in front of you. So, would you like? Do you think that would you be able to do that sacrifice, donating all your money to that person instead of going to that place for which you had been planning for so long, or anything you wanted to buy or build or do anything with that money? Would you able to sacrifice that desire? This is the ultimate punya, the basis, the foundation of this story. So this she wanted to convey, that to help somebody, some needy person, is more important than visiting to temple, doing any religious performance, or doing any sort of thing. Means helping the needy and poor person is more important than any deed, and God loves it. This feeling this old lady got, and donated all this her money to that girl to get married. So till here we have done today. Next time we'll continue from here to get the entire text done. Then I'll take the exercises also, question answers also, make you summary writing done also, everything, key points also. So till now, I'm signing off. It's Vishnu Verma here. Thank you. God bless you all.